Today's video is an AMA, Ask Me Anything. And if you're new here, you're not sure how this works, you leave your question in the comment section down below and I answer it in upcoming videos. This is a dope question. What makes a great portrait photographer? This scales the test of time, right? And I feel like photography is such a young medium when taken in the context of just art and painting. I think as you start to adhere to the formalities of portraiture, you can start to see the lineage when you go back to a lot of these prominent painters throughout the years. And I believe storytelling is always at the core of great portraiture. And there's so many different styles of portraits, right? Like you have candids, you have environmentals, you have studio work. There's all these things. Headshots are in there somewhere. I guess that's under studio. But I think understanding the purpose behind each of those styles as it relates to storytelling, because storytelling really is the key to any of our mediums, be it, I don't know, painting, photography, videography. You really do need to tell a story. And I think storytelling can be a struggle. I know it's a struggle for me. And think about like a candid photo. I do a lot of candids in my event photography work, and candids are tough, right? Because you sort of have to have this foresight of when is the moment gonna unveil itself. Like you need to be listening to people talk, and you need to be paying attention to what people do. And there's this arc. You need to start to look for when is the moment of the story going to be at its peak in what this person is doing in this conversation these people are having. Like you see two people having a conversation, and you're a fly on the wall, and you're like, okay, we're getting to the punchline now. He's getting to the joke, and you need to be ready to capture that reaction, right? Because there's two reactions in the joke. There's a guy telling it, and he's like, and then there's a person like, yo, that's funny. I see what you did there. You have this crossover moment of when those things meet. That's your candidate. That's your story. How you don't have control of that moment, but you have that foresight to capture and patiently wait for the moment to unfold. So I say that to say, it ain't easy, right? You look at environmental portraits. Environmental portraits are so difficult because not only is the subject, the person, you need to figure out how to portray the story and how they feel and what they're doing. But then you also need to capture the environment, and you need to have this wavelength where the emotions of the person, the subject, coincide with the vibe of the environment. Because when your viewer looks at this portrait, you want them to connect each in a succinct way that tells the story. That shit is not easy. And then there's portrait work. Portrait work is particularly, studio work. Studio work is particularly intimidating to me. It exposes a lot of my insecurities in creativity. Because I wouldn't consider myself the most creative person. Like I've met photographers that can look at something and just, I don't know where the fuck their mind goes, but they come back and they're like, yep, we're gonna do it this way. I was just like, okay, right? And then like, I'll have people in the studio and I'll have my lighting set up. I'll have my backdrop set up. And like, I'm really struggling to make something viable, something that I connect with. And that's why you still don't see a lot of creative studio work coming from me, because I'm not comfortable. And I know I'm my first gauge, my biggest critic for sure, but I'm the gauge. I'm the unit of measurement. And if I look at these photos and I don't feel anything, then I can't expect you to feel anything when I'm showing it. And nonetheless, I say studio work is difficult, but what makes a great portrait photographer, I think the understanding about how relentless you need to be to tell a story and to take your subject and to make them the arc of the story, or portray them in a certain way that lends to the story, creates the story. Like, that's what makes a great portrait photographer to me. And then there's like the genuine connection, right? Like, you need to be able to take your subject and sell them on your creative vision. And you need to make sure that if you're doing some environmental portrait, I think environmental portraits for me are best in the setting of documentary or documentary photography. And you know, you come in and let's take, like, I don't know, let's take a painter in his studio. Like, I'm not here to just photograph you, a painter, in your workplace, the studio. Like, I'm paying homage when I come in. So nice to be here. I thank you so much for your time. And I really think what you do here is dope. I think what you do here is something that the world needs. I think what you do here is champion in, it's a craft. It's an outlet that you are encapsulating, that the rest of the world needs to know exists, that you can hide deep within your creativity and create. And you can confront your fears, your insecurities through the things that you create. And I'm here to capture that for you. And I want you to allow me the trust and the respect that I'm capturing you in an authentic way. You need to tap into that connection. And once your subject feels that you feel them, photos start to look different. Portraits kind of become alive. Portraits become a moment in time and not just a snapshot or a picture, right? So, like, pulling at that connection and that purposeful intention to why you're even hitting the shutter button, I think is also the hallmark of a good portrait photographer. And that is sort of a segue into, like, my third point. And it's making people feel comfortable in front of the camera and lights. Like, that's such a big deal. And I know it's a big deal because when it's time for me to take portraits of people, when it's time for me to have my portraits taken, it's almost like I have no idea of all the work I've done on the other side of the camera. Like, I'm awkward, I'm nervous, I don't know how to breathe, I don't know how to smile, I don't know where to look, I forget what the key light is doing, I forget about the shot, like all of these things I forget about. And it's important that no matter who you are, like, this is part of the human experience, right? When it's time to put on, you get nervous. And as a portrait photographer, the ability to make people feel comfortable is such a hallmark. It's one of the tools in your toolbox for sure. And my last point about what makes a great portrait photographer ain't none of that shit I just talked about got anything to do with the fucking camera that you use or how expensive the lights are and all this other crazy shit. Do with that what you may. My name is Ramon. I want to thank you for checking out the video. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the subscribe button if you want more, you enjoy my style and my perspective. Hit the comment section down below. I like to see the conversations continue. I like to see them become dynamically, they form into other things and they give me more ideas for more videos and more things to explore. So yeah, again, thank you for your time. I'm out of here. Peace.